You're listening to Living Out Loud with my mom, Michelle Flamer. Yep, she's a flamer and proud of it. Get ready to learn about queers in your communities doing great things every week.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for listening, for sharing the episodes, for commenting and telling me all sorts of great things that you're enjoying with what we are doing now. So I am so happy you're back here, Michelle, with Living Out Loud podcast. And today I'm really excited about my guest. His name is Juan Rodriguez, and I found him on TikTok, and he's not your average TikTok creator. He's very special, and I'm really excited to share this. Share him with you. But Juan, thank you for being here. You've created such a powerful corner of the internet where compassion, courage, and curiosity meet. For anyone who hasn't discovered you yet, how do you describe the work you're doing on TikTok and beyond? But before that, I'd love for you, in your own words, to sort of introduce yourself to the audience a little bit, and hopefully, and of course, I'll share your information in the show notes. But yeah, how did this come about, and where did you come from, and all the good stuff?
Well, thank you, Michelle, for having me on. Hello, everyone. My name is Juan. Juan Rodriguez is so official, right? But Juan, and most people know me through my social media through Thinking a New Thought. It is spelled out just like it sounds. And the idea really came from, I was always very inspired by the whole idea of the light bulb moments. Oprah used to talk about that, like that when you were having a conversation and you'd see their lights like shift in their eyes and like, oh, I never thought about it that way. And that's where the name really kind of spawned from because I love to be the catalyst of that myself, right? So that's
Yeah.
kind of the vision of what I do in all different ways. But I am hanging on to my 30s. I'm 39. I live in Florida, right outside of Mickey Mouse house. And so I can see the fireworks from my balcony. Some of you are really jealous right now. And some of you are like, oh God, why would you want to live that close to Disney? So we'll see who you are based on
Are
your
are
opinions.
you a
But
Disney nerd?
oh,
Are you?
absolutely, absolutely.
Is your
I'm
husband?
not like I'm not like a Disney adult in the sense of like I don't worry about social media when it's regarding Disney. And no, my husband is not. He will placate me and enjoy some time in the parks with me. But if I never asked him to go again, he would also not be upset. So there's that, right? Like I
Yeah,
said, I'm going to choose my husband. I'm going to pick the person that doesn't love the things that yeah, that wasn't a choice, but but
I
that's
love
how the
it.
cards fell. But yeah, so I love Disney. I am unapologetic about loving Kelly Clarkson. She's my favorite human
Love her.
being.
You're in good
Yes.
company. Love
Yes,
her.
I have loved her since Idol. I always tell people I'm the reason she won because I voted the entire night, even though my mom kept telling me to go to bed, and I'm like, no, this is serious. And so I've seen her in concert 10 times, but it's been a while. It's been a while. I need to go back to
A
see her again. It's
moment
just
like this.
yeah, it's a little different world right now because when she first started, concerts were different pricing, and now you got to go out to Vegas, and it's Vegas travel pricing. So it's been a little bit since I've been able to see her, but yeah, but we're all about good vibes, finding your tribe, good people,
Yep.
and just like we've shared before in private, being a light because our world's a
Yes.
little chaotic
Yes.
and noisy, and there's a lot of commotion going on. And
Yeah.
if you can be that for somebody else, why the heck not, right?
Yeah, well, I came across you beyond the fact that I love that pink neon that you've got
Mm-hmm.
going on. I mean, and your little face in the microphone, and like it's really this is a kind of a new trend on TikTok I'm seeing, which is the debating. There's a couple of really amazing creators out there that are doing it from a political standpoint, and like Idiot Savant, like he's a savant, right? Like, but it's great to start seeing this lens that you're coming from, which is your our own wheelhouse, talking about our communities,
Mm-hmm.
and not only that, trying to educate the I mean, I don't want to like degrade anybody, but if you're
The less
ignorant,
educated, if you will.
correct. If you're not curious in life, because I'm curious, I'll watch Fox News, I'll watch other programming so that I can form my own opinion, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I love how often on a 2 hour, TikTok, you all of a sudden have like change that person's mind. And that must be so rewarding for you in the moment.
Yeah, it's honestly the goal. And it's not necessarily to say that I expect people to leave the conversation and be like, oh, you got me. I flipped my mindset. Because I don't
Right.
expect that ever. It has happened from time to time. We've had moments where people are like, wow, I never thought about that way. You make sense. Yeah, no, I get it now. Cool. Those are very few and far between. The goal is to get them to think a new thought.
Yeah.
That's why the page is called that. The goal is
Yep.
to have them hear something that they never heard before, or in a way they never heard before, or in a way that seeps into their brain. Because sometimes they've
Yes.
heard it, but they just pushed it away. And
Yes.
I have this ability, I feel, to break down the barriers of their defense because
Yes.
everybody starts with defense. So if you watch any of the videos that I
Fear.
posted,
It's
a lot of
fear.
times, yeah, it's fear, it's rejection. It's like, no, no, no. It's just a wall. And
Yeah.
it takes a good, sometimes 15, 20 minutes. When we're talking about the good conversations, 15, 20 minutes of that is all breaking down their barriers.
Yep.
And when we finally get them to slow down and be able to listen, then we get to the real meat and potatoes of the conversation. Then we get to the, oh, aha, I never knew. You get all those breakthroughs, but you have to get through the wall. And what I've heard a lot of people say is most creators don't take the time or have the patience or the desire to spend 15 minutes breaking through the wall. And
Yeah.
for me, it's the challenge that I accept. It makes me so excited when I get that opportunity because what I feel is you shift one person and you affect hundreds because that person is kinder to the barista that they go to at Starbucks, to the person at the grocery store, to their
That's
neighbor, to
right.
their friend. And then when they hear other people saying negative things, they can turn around and be like, you know what? Last week I had a conversation and I thought that way. But now, and now it spreads to that secondary person and that person's bubble. So I really feel a responsibility that if I can impact somebody, you just really have no idea who it can affect. And that's why
Yeah.
I'm so
And
passionate about it.
I kind of love the way that it's set up because they can show their face or not. Like you're not asking them to show. So there's a safety in that little bit of anonymity
Hmm.
where where they're there and then you're present because you're like, whatever. Because as creators, when we jump on lives, where I'm like, I have like 90 minutes I can do here. Like, so you're like, I'm 2 hours in here. Like whoever wants to come and talk to me, I want to see this through. So I'm here for however long and however long they want to stay. I really think that that is the most important. And I think it's these ripples of positivity, not toxic positivity, but ripples of knowledge, ripples of being curious. And I like how sometimes when the conversation allows, you're kind of like, oh, wait, hold on. I have a moment to be curious with you too. Tell me about where you grew up. Let me
Hmm.
understand you. And I think the compassion and that empathy piece, as I think anybody who wants to be a positive shift maker in our world right now, has to come from empathy. We have to
Hmm.
come from love ourselves. And if we don't love ourselves and can't come from that space, then it's not going to work.
And to your earlier point about a lot of debaters going into the political sphere, that's why I stopped doing that. So
Good.
I was never debating. I was always just somebody who came on, hung out, played games, whatever. And there was an era where things were happening very loud in our political sphere, and I said, I'm gonna do it too. And I went online with no plan. I put a picture behind me of our president, and the page went crazy. And I immediately was like, this is the ticket. Look, everyone's watching. This is what they wanted. And so I wrote it for a while. I stayed on that lane. I had those conversations. And what I realized is I was angry and I was just more frustrated. And then I was talking to the worst of the worst, in my opinion. They were coming in to attack me, and then I was attacking them. And I was like, I'm exhausted. Like I would
Yeah.
leave the live, and like I didn't have fulfillment. I didn't have joy from it, and I was like, I'm just tired.
Yeah.
And then I'm leaving the live, and I'm still angry, and I'm
Well,
still frustrated.
because energetically you're lowering your
Absolutely,
vibration, your frequency. It's like when we are
absolutely.
in our most authentic state, which I feel like that's where you are at this point. You're like
Hmm.
you truly are the epitome of living out loud, which is
Mm.
why I named the podcast this and why I live in this space. So finding other folks and highlighting queer people, in our community that are making these really important, what I feel like is the new Stonewall of this age, in a sense. Like people like you, people like me, other queer creators and nonprofits and organizations, and queer politicians who are coming forward and who are joining that force, because they know the only true way that we can make this shift right now is, one, we're all better together and more powerful together if we're all speaking this language. But two, with these little ripples, whether it's your space and you're talking to 5 people for an hour, or you end up talking to 1,000 people in that hour or two. It doesn't matter. It makes the same it's that authentic frequency. It's still resonating out there.
Yeah, 100%. And then so I took a break after that kind of stressful era, and I was like, I
That
don't
makes
know what I want to do, but I don't know what to do. Like I just turned it all off, and I was like, I don't know what to do. And then I was like, let's, after some time, I feel like it was like a month or so, I'm not really sure. But after that time, I came back and I'm like, let's do like an LGBT space and see what happens. And I just really started to kind of carve away at that idea. What do I want it to look like? How would I want to show up? And I'm still consistently and constantly evolving and changing and shifting things.
Yeah.
And I'm very grateful because there's people who've kind of flocked to my side. Like, I'll help you make backgrounds. Like my friend Lavender is my main
Oh,
moderator, but she's like, she loves visual stuff. And I'm like, do it, because that's not my forte. So
yeah.
one of the things that's really come from this is like finding people who they have passions and strengths and being able to let them shine with their passions and strengths. So if you like any of my backgrounds, that wasn't me. But
I know, and
that's
I really love your
yeah.
backgrounds. Yeah,
But
they're
that's
so
what it's
great.
about, right? Like find
Hmm.
people who were like sitting at their home like I wish I could do more things with visual,
Yeah,
and they can, but
yeah,
you're attracting your I would say you're attracting your tribe, right? You're finding your people,
100%.
you're finding, and that's for them and for you. It's mutual. In the same light, I found other creators who were holding these kind of debate conversations. And what I did is I sat and listened. I learned from absorbing, and I was like, what are they doing? How are they doing it? Or just literally listening to their conversations and learning from the content, learning from things that I was like, I never would have thought of that way. I didn't know this. And kind of like you said, Michelle, where you're like, I go and I watch news sources left and right and it's that. I'm the same way. I have a firm belief, question everything. Believe no one person, no one source, question everything. So they would talk about things sometimes and I'm like, I didn't know that. And then I go read about it. I'm like, wow, yeah, no, that's exactly what they said. Or I never heard that term in the LGBTQIA plus conversation. Let me go read a little bit more about it. Because I don't expect you or myself or anyone to know everything. We
Yeah,
can't. But
yeah,
what we can know, like Tony Robbins always says, there's not a lack of resources, there's a lack of resourcefulness. So, yeah,
agreed.
I'm not supposed to know everything. I'm never going to. I don't want to be the smartest person in the room,
Yeah.
but I do love to hear things that I'm like, oh, what's that? And then go read about it and learn about it and listen to it. And so the
That's because
conversation can go
you
in
have
many different ways.
totally, but you have a genuine curiosity. We were
Hmm.
talking about Oprah in our pre-chat, and that's one thing that I think folks like us who resonated with Oprah, who now are sort of putting themselves in this place of having a voice, is becoming curious is
Yep.
our biggest asset.
And
It's
I
really
know that just in case, because some of the listeners might be like, oh my God, not Oprah. Not Oprah of 2025, but if you go
right.
back to Oprah in the 90s,
That's right.
before Oprah was a mega celebrity and before
That's
all of
right.
her guests were mega celebrities, the guests were random, everyday people.
That
She
she
had
found
conversations off the
interesting.
street that she was
That's
like,
right.
I want to talk about this.
That's
And
right.
it was real, raw, emotional. There's a DVD set. If you're listening, that looks like a round piece of CD. Okay. Anyways, it's a DVD set. I have it. It's from her like 20th or 25th anniversary set. The
Yeah.
entire first 2 discs, you will cry every single episode.
Yep.
And there were things in those episodes that resonate with me till today.
Agreed.
And it was because she was having conversations with real people. Once she shifted and became all celebrity focused, it's a whole different realm, and I get it. So if you're not familiar with her older stuff, that's why maybe you're like, really, Oprah? Yeah, it was a very different Oprah. But
She
I resonate
really,
with anyone who's curious. That's why I
yeah,
love Disney, because
yeah,
Walt Disney was very curious, right? So
agreed.
The curiosity is, it's juicy to me. I'm like, what else can we learn? What's that? I love it. I love it. I love it.
I love that. So let's go back to little Juan, right? And tell me about a little bit of your upbringing. And I'm curious because who you are today is certainly not who you were 6 months ago, a year ago. I mean, God, I
Hmm.
love the evolution of life. But take us back to like your coming out story and where you kind of began and who inspired you along the way, or maybe some of those aha moments that you love so much
Sure.
about yourself.
Yeah, so I grew up in a very small family. I have one sister that we're still very close today. We're a year and a half apart. She's older than me, but she says that I'm her little older brother because she says I'm the one that she looks to for advice, and that's true. My mom and dad are still together to this day. My dad is Cuban in all the ways that you expect a Cuban machismo man to be. He was, and my mom is American and Jewish descent. And so, growing up was everything that you would not want as a gay boy, which is your dad telling you the gender norms for a boy. We go outside and cut the grass. We go build stuff. We do gardening and we do. And I was like, save me, because I hate it here. And I latched on in a lot of ways to my grandma, to my abuela, which is my Cuban side. And me and her, for whatever reason, were exactly the same. I tell people all the time, if you've laughed with me, you've met my grandma because we had the same sense of humor. We were the same person. We had the same kind of caring and empathy for people. Um, and I really do attribute everything that I am and everything I know to her. There was times in my upbringing that I would see her going through hard times because people would take advantage of her. Shocking, a good person getting taken advantage of, right? And I had the wisdom to say, like, stop letting them take advantage of you. And she said to me, what I do is because of who I am. And
Mm.
what they do is because of who they are. I will continue to do good every chance I get. If they don't return that, that's their problem, not mine. And it became,
Your abuela was literally like the first Mel Robbins.
no, no, no.
She's like,
She,
she just spouted the let them theory
a
all up
hundred
in
percent,
there.
100%. So she was the rock for who I am because that's how I operate in life. I've gone through a lot of things up and down. I've been through a lot and I don't change who I am. I do good cuz I'm good. If you do bad back to me, I'm like, sorry about what's coming to you because that's on you. So I protect my peace, I protect my karma, I protect my energy. When it comes to coming out, I did not talk to anybody throughout my entire upbringing until I left the home about being
Mm.
gay. I knew very young. I always knew that I was different
Yeah.
until I knew what the label was, right? Because when you're very, very young, you just know, I don't relate to guys. I have this belief that, I mean, I believe we're born who we are. I believe that society tries to confuse us and direct us in the path that they think is good or bad. And I have a lot of conversations about this because people will say, oh, you're not born gay. It's not. Here's what I'll tell you. When you are a young boy and you are in like middle school, you start going to locker rooms. That's where it starts. You start going to PE. How come these straight boys are mean to you? You didn't tell them you were gay. You're not dating a guy. How come they sense the othering? They know one of us is different than the other one,
Mm.
and it's not like I was hyper feminine and not like anything's wrong with that. But I'm saying I really wasn't. I was just me. I'm still probably very similar to who I am today, but I knew I wasn't like them. They knew I wasn't like them, and so before there's even a label, the world knows that there's something different here.
Sure.
And so that's where a big part of me is like foundationally, I know like we are who we are. I grew up, went to high school. I also went to high school. So I was born and raised in Miami, but when we got to 8th grade, my family and I moved to Clewiston, Florida, which is a terrible place.
That
My
is literally one
graduating
city I've never heard of.
Oh, and you don't need to go there. It has a Walmart, no movie theaters, no malls, 8 stoplights, you're in and out. It's terrible. So imagine 13-year-old gay Juan arriving from Miami to that place where my graduating class was less than 100 kids, right? So you're talking about this small, really town.
Feels
Okay.
like a little like footloose.
Yeah, it's rough. It's what it is. And so nobody in my town was at school outwardly gay either. So, it's baffling today to see in 2025, like how kids can go to school, be their full selves, and people are celebrating it. Not in my world.
Nope.
And so when I got to the point I was going away to college, it was then when I was like, well, now I'm living on my own. Like, because I was like, my dad's going to kick me out. My dad might be aggressively violent with me because he's a Cuban machismo man. And I was scared. I was scared. And I was like, I can't say anything about this. And so, I mean, one of my earliest memories, I remember my sister was always obsessed with the Backstreet Boys. And so was I for a different reason, or maybe the same reason. I'm not sure. But one day we had one computer because, you know, back in the day, guys, there wasn't a laptop in every room. We had one computer. It was in the living room or right near the kitchen. And when my parents went to sleep, I Googled Backstreet Boys shirtless. And my dad found the history because I wasn't smart enough to erase the history. And I told him I was looking for inspiration to go to the gym. I
Oh,
never went to the gym. I wasn't in the gym. And he was like, oh, okay. It was fine because it was fine. What? Fast forward, I leave home, I go to college and come back home to visit. And I'm walking through Walmart on my cell phone talking to my first boyfriend at the time. And I said bye to him. My mom was like, who's that? And I was like, oh, it's George. And she's like, who's George, your boyfriend? And I go, yeah. She goes, okay. I said, okay. That was the conversation. Like,
wow.
it was the most nonchalant, like, okay, that just happened. And we didn't talk any further. I get home either that day or the next day. I can't remember very clearly, but my dad says, come here, I want to talk to you. I'm instantly terrified because I'm like, we're going to do this. And we go to his room together and he tells me, I don't care who you are, but I want you to tell me who you are and you're going to do it now. And I
Wow.
had no choice but to say,
Yeah.
I'm gay, and literally thought he was going to hit me. And he hugged me, and it was weird because I was like, why is he hugging me? I'm so scared. I don't know what's going to happen right now. So, if you asked me, was my coming out good or bad? I would say, well, I was unscathed, and it was fine. But I could also talk for hours upon the fact that I, as an older person, once I reached my 30s and have gone through things like therapy, realized that it's not about the moment you come out. It's really about the 10 years prior that you didn't have safety and
Correct.
you were suppressing and hiding and being a different version of yourself just to
Yeah.
exist and survive.
Yeah.
That caused the trauma.
Yeah.
So even though, yes, they weren't like unkind to me and I didn't lose my family because of it,
Yeah.
looking back, I'm like, yeah, it was still rough because I didn't have the safety to be who I was. And I knew that I wasn't, or I thought I wasn't going to be safe. And that's a very scary feeling for a child.
Yeah. I think because of how that happened, and obviously through therapy, it's allowed you to have a place of empathy and compassion. And
Hmm.
I think that's what really speaks through is that you're like, I genuinely am here. I just want to understand where, like, even if we agree to disagree today and you walk away from our conversation, this live, this Facebook connection, whatever your phone call, like who, even in person, when someone might
Hmm.
recognize you now, actually, and say, "Hey, weren't you on TikTok?" or things
Hmm.
like that. But it's just all those little micro moments of the way that we show up when we are in coming from love, like
Hmm.
genuinely a humanness there that I think that's probably why you're able to be in that space because you remember how it felt to not be heard, to not live your authentic self. And we all want the people like us, like who are genuine healers, who genuinely just want to heal what's happening
Hmm.
in the world. I think we naturally sort of sit in that space of like, I just want you to feel heard.
And that's why one of my favorite things to do is talk to somebody who is either a parent of a young child or planning to be a parent. And
Yeah.
they have this kind of feeling like, oh no, you're not born LGBT, like it has to do with your upbringing, and really break down why they even think that. What I have found is through like thousands of conversations, most of the time those thoughts were planted in their head. Because when
Mhm.
you break down and you go through the rabbit hole with them, they get to the point where they're like, they don't even know why they believe that. There's no
Right.
substantiating evidence. It's not something that they read or that they just, this is what was told to them.
That's
And
it.
it takes work to kind of go through it with them for them to go there in their mind. But it's like, Well, why do you believe this? Well, okay, where did that thought come from? Well, why have you and when you do it and you get these, especially men, when you get men to slow down and listen and really acknowledge, like, well, that does make sense. When that happens, it's a win because again, they're going to be better to their sons, their daughters, to their nieces, to their nephews, to their future grandkids. So it is about that. And the secondary layer is you never know who's listening. And so there's a kid or a teenager or a young adult because they're all on TikTok also,
That's
and
right.
they're in the audience and their parents are not being great with them.
Yep.
And they're thinking, life is going to be this way forever. And they
Right.
come into this space and they go, oh, wait, there's happy, there's knowledgeable, there's love, there's people who are like, hey, if you need someone to talk to, I'm here. And even though I'm not talking about, I don't connect with children, but I'm saying they're watching in the shadows.
Yeah.
And we're giving them hope and light just by hosting this conversation.
Which is exactly why I ask for every guest to tell their coming out story, because I think if a young adult or a teenager is listening, I want them to hear all these different coming out stories, that it's not one fit all, at all. I mean, it's never going to be. I mean, there's certain core, like you and I have a similar coming out story where my dad hugged me and literally told me, he said, "You still feel like my daughter." And I think that's what your dad was sort of doing. He's like, "Nope, you're still my mija, right? You're still my little
Hmm.
guy."
Hmm.
And I think that it's powerful, and we are fortunate in many ways, but I still think, like you were talking about those 10 years before and that leading up to, it's still part of your journey and still a
Hmm.
part of your healing journey as well as your normal adult journey.
Hmm.
Um, when you were talking about like people need people, I really love that because I say that a lot, but it's really nice to hear it from somebody else. And I
Hmm.
love it that it comes from a gay man because so often I'm not as around as much gay, many gay men that I would love to be. But
Hmm.
so I think it's really cool that you are just putting this out there of like,
Hmm.
we all need each other, regardless if we agree or not. We still need each other.
Hmm. A lot of the things that I say have been inspired by art or thought leaders. A lot of it comes from other people. I
Yeah,
always say, like, I'm not this inventor of things. I just really hold on to them.
yeah,
And I remember when I watched Rent on Broadway, that changed my entire life. And Today for Me, Tomorrow for You was the theme that really like it resonates so much on my heart that it's like today I help you because tomorrow you'll help me and we
yeah,
just never know what we're going to need from the smallest action to the biggest one. I've been in a situation where there was no food in my cabinets and no money in my bank account and my friends showed up at my door with groceries. I know what that feels like. So if I can do good for somebody else today because I'm in a different position, I'm going to. I've been in a place where my husband is from Brazil. When he came here, like when we met, he did not know anything about the culture here, about how things work here. So I've seen almost like through the eyes of a child, what is America and how does it operate? And through that lens, he's able to help other people who came from Brazil after him be like, oh, I went through this. Let me teach you this. I'm like, today for me, tomorrow for you. Like, it is people need people.
paying
So
it forward.
he needed me back then, and now other people need him because he's the wise, person who moved here from another country. So I just really believe in that. I believe in pay it forward. I believe in all of those things. You can go to the law of attraction, you can go to the power of positivity. I mean, there
Yeah,
is no one rule. They all coexist in this universe. I think that if you read every positive book there is to read in Barnes and Noble or Amazon, you're going to find these themes. They coexist within all the books.
yeah,
And it's because there is not one way to say it, but it all equals the same result. We are all living in this world, and Oprah used to say we're all more alike than we are different.
yep,
And we all want to know three fundamental things. Do you see me? Do you hear me? And did what I say just matter to you?
yeah.
And
It's
that right there is a core belief and importance of how I hold conversation spaces, which is why when somebody doesn't acknowledge what the other person speaking says, it frustrates me. I'm like, hey, wait, 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 wait. They just said something. Because you're disregarding it. So it means what
right.
they said, you either didn't listen or you listened and didn't care. So we have to take time to slow down and care about what other people are saying, how they're expressing things. And like you said, Michelle, you may not agree, but can you agree at your core that how you want someone else to feel because of your actions? So we might not understand everything or see eye to eye, but if you're telling me, hey, the way you said that just made me feel bad. Well, I don't think anybody would say out loud, I like making people feel bad.
Right.
So even though I don't fully get it, see it, agree with you, I don't have your lived experience, I can be like, huh, there's something here that I can shift because I don't want to be the reason anyone else feels bad. So we got to zoom out. You got to zoom out and be like, what am I doing? What is the effect on other people? What
Yeah.
is my goal? Because I would never want to be the cause of bad in any way for somebody. So
Yeah.
even if I don't get it, if this word or this way I said something hurt their feeling, I got to listen. I got to
Yeah.
care. We got to reinforce the humanity and the empathy, as you said, because we have to care about one another because that's how the world works. We have to care about each other. And what we're seeing in 2025 is a lack of humanity, a lack of empathy, a lack of kindness,
Yep.
and it's something that I encourage every day. I say to people all the time, text your happy friend. Text
Yeah.
your happy friend and say, hey friend, how are you? And when they say good, what's up? You'd be like, no, really, like you doing good? I haven't asked you that in a while. And they're like, yes, why are you asking me that? Because I realize I never do. I realize as the happy friend, probably nobody does. I guarantee you it's going to matter to them because I'm the happy friend. And when I have bad days, it's rare that people are like, Juan, you okay? I know what that feels like because
Yeah.
I'm the happy friend. I make people laugh. I bring the high energy. The moment I'm having a bad day, people are just confused and so they stay away from you. And you're like, hello? Where's my check in?
It's true. I find myself being the person who checks in most. I think it's just maybe because I have the capacity though in the space because doing the work, going to therapy, actually meeting my demons head on and not being afraid of being a
100%.
better version of myself.
You
I
have
think
to do the
people
work.
You have to do the work. I mean, that is like, and I don't want to say it from a spiritual self love mumbo jumbo because the term self love has been, I believe, just overused.
Yeah, sure.
It just, I think, is just about let's meet yourself where you are
Yeah.
and give yourself grace and also do something that your tomorrow is going to thank you for.
But
I
you
think
can't do that if you don't sit with yourself and
that's right.
acknowledge
That's
what do you
right.
like, what do you not like, what do you want to improve upon. So you're 100% like self-love and improvement and self-help. It all got very like cookie cutter and fortune cookie. Everyone's like, bleh. They don't even want to talk about it.
Yeah.
But at the end
I'm
of the
even tired of
day,
talking about attachments. Like, okay, attachments, you're not a one trick pony here. Like,
right.
you could be avoidant with one person and anxious with another and show up
Yep.
secure in a whole other space. It's like, don't put yourself in a
Yeah.
box, is
Yeah,
really
you don't
what,
have to box yourself in, but the more you know, the more you're able to identify
yeah.
how you're showing up, the patterns, how you're operating, how you're making other. This is any topic, guys. It's the same thing. Like the love languages. Like
Yeah,
I could probably read all the love languages and be like, they all apply. Like, but
exactly.
I know how I operate. I know that like for me, if I give you a gift, it's a well thought out gift. I'm not giving you a gift card. I'm not doing it. I'd prefer to give you nothing because for me, gifting is important because we didn't get gifts as a kid. So for
Oh,
me, giving a gift is like I'm giving you. So my friends are always like, Juan gives the best gifts, and it's because I really think about it. For my husband, it's acts of service. So I could buy him a gift and it's nice, but if I wash the dishes, boy, it's like a parade walk in. But what he didn't understand is that he would wash the dishes and I wasn't celebrating it. And I'm like, that doesn't mean anything to me. Like I
right.
appreciate it. I'm glad the house is clean. It to me, it just feels like what you do. But for him, it was like I'm taking care of our home. I'm taking care of
Oh,
you. It's never going to change. I don't operate that way. But now I can say thank you for keeping the house up because I know his intention is to show his love by taking care of me. Doesn't
right.
change that I'm like do other things, right? For me it's quality service, quality time.
Yeah.
I if you walk with me and talk with me, I'm happier than if you clean the house. I don't care
Yeah.
if the house like so
No,
it's just about you understanding these concepts and saying this is how we navigate through life together coexisting because if you don't know about it, you're just like, I don't understand. I got him a gift and he wasn't even happy. It's because you don't understand the inner workings of how we all like have these rhythms and flows to us.
So how are you really, Juan?
How am I? I'm tired. That's a real answer.
I know.
I'm tired. But I'm really good. I'm really grateful, deeply grateful. I'm happy. I'm healthy. I'm in a good place. I am. I'm grateful for my job. I'm grateful, very grateful for my husband. I'm in a home that I love. I have a lot of good. And being towards the end
What
of
do
the
you
year.
do? Yeah, but like
What's that?
what do you do when you're not doing TikTok? Like what are you
Oh,
doing?
so I work in training for a corporation,
Okay.
and so I train new
Okay.
hires and whatnot. And so aside from that, doing it seems like TikTok really has become a second job. It really
Love it.
has, and
Yeah.
I don't want people to associate it with like, ugh, it's work. But what I mean by that is I made a commitment to show up, and it changed everything when I made that commitment. So I used to pop up whenever I felt like it, and that doesn't lead to anything because you got to be consistent, and you don't build a platform the way we're building without being consistent. So, I wake up every day 2 hours before work so that I can be on bright and early. And then after work, I oftentimes do another hour or hour and a half or so.
Wow.
Weekends, I'll do an hour or two. So like I don't try to not do it unless there's a reason.
Yeah.
And so I'm busy. I'm busy. And but I'm grateful for it because people will say like, "Oh, you need to take time for yourself." And I'm like, if you stopped all these things in my life, I would fall apart because I need to feel like I'm doing something. I
Yeah.
don't like feeling like time is just wasted.
Yeah. You're
And that
filling your
doesn't mean I
soul
don't know how
up.
to slow down because I do. When I say time is wasted, it doesn't like I can lay on the couch and watch Netflix. That's not time wasted. That's we are bonding, we are spending quality time. That has value to me. I don't need to spend 10 hours watching Netflix. That's time wasted in my opinion.
Right.
Every now and then you can have it, but like if you're doing that weekly, guys, I mean, when you think about it, right? And I know this seems like such a rant, but when you think of like people do this, they spend 10 hours on Netflix. They really do because it's binge watching, right? If
Yep.
you spend 10 hours a week on Netflix, there's 52 weeks in a year.
Yeah.
That means you're spending 520 hours on Netflix?
Yeah.
520 hours. Well, like, what?
Yeah.
If you go into the math of how many days that is, you've lost months of time in your year. And then you're
Yeah.
like, why didn't I hit my goals? Why didn't I get to elevate my life? Why am I stuck? Why am I? And well, where are you spending your time? And so I do time checks in with myself. I do little inventory checks, like where am I spending most of my time? And it's important. It's important if you're going to be goal oriented, if you want to elevate yourself, if you want to reach goals or whatever that may be, you're going to have to be honest with yourself and check in and say, what am I spending most of my time on? Where can I? It's just like a budget financially. Sometimes you got to look and be like, oh, I don't need 17 different streaming services.
Yeah. No,
So,
it's true.
it's
Because
all
you're like, I
about
want to have a life.
priorities.
Like I want to have something bigger.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
love that, doing what you're doing on social media is really filling up your soul
Mm-hmm.
bucket. And I get that same feeling when I'm on. So I like you're preaching we're preaching to each other
Yeah.
here, but
Yeah.
preaching to the choir in that sense. So what is the next evolution for you? What is the intention for this next chapter coming into 2026?
Yeah.
What are you excited about? Things like that.
Well, funny enough, I am considering deeply not shifting, but also having like a weekly podcast.
Yeah.
Because we do these conversations on TikTok daily, and there's a lot of things that I get from it, and I feel like people would want to hear like this week this conversation really impacted me, and really this is and also to maybe commingle it with some of the live clips because some people are not watching during the lives, and so you can't really go back to watch the live. So unless I post a clip, which I don't always do, you don't have that. So I am thinking about a podcast. My inner circle will not stop telling me how much I need to make merch. But I don't. My brain is like, how, what, who does it, how do we, when do we, what website?
Yep.
They say I need a website. How, what, where? So all the things. But probably the podcast is next. And I would say if I had a vision of what I would want ultimately, I would genuinely love to start being able to impact people online and in person with like courses,
Yeah.
right? Like how do we achieve our goals? How do we rise above our past? All these things that I've really done the work on. I'd love to be involved with LGBT youth in any way. If I could speak at gay straight alliances at high schools and things of that nature. So there's a lot of things on my, long term goals and also my vision for what I want because I do want to take it off the page as well. I would love to be a person who gets to speak to people in person.
Yeah.
Um, that might require a book first because that's
Yeah.
what that seems to be the natural order. When you have a book, then you have a reason to get a stage because now you're talking about what's in the book.
That's right.
But there's a lot of steps to all that, right? And I do work full time off of this, and so
Yep.
it's a lot. It's very demanding, and it's also a lot of things that I don't know, and that's what I'm really digging into. Is like who can help me or how can I learn? Because there's a lot of things. I'm not a website designer. I don't know how to promote myself in that way. Everything that's happened on TikTok has truly been organic.
Yeah.
It's just been I showed up and then other people showed up and then those people told other people to show up and it's been the biggest word of mouth. A couple years ago we were like I hope one day I can have 10,000 followers. We're about to hit 30,000 followers and
It's
I'm just like
amazing.
wow and it's just growing. I oftentimes have to sit with that and remind myself because if there's one piece of advice I can leave people with is don't compare yourself to the next person because it's so easy to look at why does that person have 1 million followers and I'm like yeah but I had 10,000 a couple years ago,
Yeah.
right? And I wasn't taking it seriously for the last 3 years. I've been taking it seriously probably the last 6 to 8 months and I really boosted my numbers. And so I'm not really worried about what other people have or what they're doing. I'm just like
Good.
let's just keep attracting the right people
That's
and
right.
growing organically.
Yeah.
And when I felt the shift was the days that I wouldn't go live or if I delayed when I started, people were messaging me asking, like, hey, you're not going live? When that started happening, I said,
Yeah.
there's something here
Yep.
because that never would happen before because
Right.
there was no consistency. Now people are like, hey, I'm ready to make dinner and I do that when you're on. So if you're not on, I can't cook. Where are you? And I'm like, this is good. I've become part of people's routines in the morning, going
Yeah.
to work, after work, cooking. And that's kind of cool that
It's
people are like,
really
I'm
cool.
looking forward to Juan as part of my day. When I'm like, guys, I can't make it tonight, they're like sad, dying. I'm like, come on, guys. Just one day, I'll be back tomorrow. But they really do. They're like, Juan, we need you live. I'm like, I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best. Yeah. But it's
What
a
do
good
you
feeling.
want?
I'm grateful.
What do you want people to know about you that you haven't maybe shared online?
That I haven't shared makes that question very hard because I don't know what I would never have shared because I'm such an open book and I talk so much that I won't remember what I've said or not said. The biggest thing I'll tell you is if there's one thing about me is I'm consistent in who I am. You
Yeah.
can know what you're going to get. I'm this person online, offline, in person, on the phone. This is just who I am. I don't know how to be anything else.
Yeah.
And when I work in corporate America, there's been moments in my life where people are like, oh, they'll say like a comment like, oh my God, you're so loud. I'm like, I know. And that's who they hired. So it's okay. So I'm unapologetic about who I am. The older I get, the more unapologetic I am. But it all stems from we can't be who we are not. We can't be someone else. I can't be a different version of me.
Yeah.
And I'm always learning. I'm always learning. And when people bring things to my attention and it's to elevate me or this sounded bad or let's do, I am always open to hearing it because I want to show up as my best and I want to be better. So I'm never going to push somebody away that's coming from a place of love and tells me, hey, this. So that's the biggest thing I would say.
I love all that. So usually when I love asking rapid fire questions near the end, and so
Hmm.
I have a few here for you.
Let's do it.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. TikTok live, love it, chaos or delicious chaos?
Oh, it's delicious chaos
Yeah.
for sure.
It is really fun, and I've just started doing the lives, so
Yeah.
watching folks like you and watching other people handle the adversity that comes through, and you kind of can't keep up with what people are saying, but it is really interesting because I have noticed that I have regulars who are like, put me in as moderator. Like they'll message
Hmm.
me, make me moderator for you. And I'm like, okay. Like I'm like, what button do I push even for that? So they're like telling me how to do it
Yep.
on the live. Like, and I think, so I think it's really funny. But
Hmm.
okay, coffee or tea? I love asking.
Coffee every morning.
How do you take it? Is it the
I,
Cuban
well,
latte?
no, I love Cuban. That would be
Yeah,
my first choice. But what I do is I cheat and I have a Keurig. But there is Cafe Bustelo K cup, so it's still kind of Cuban.
I
Uh,
love it.
yeah,
Wait,
I
and you
wake
said
up.
you mentioned that your mom was Jewish. So
Yes.
you're Jewish?
Well, yes, I identified later in life as a Christian, but yes, by bloodline. So there's a lot going on. I used to be called a Jubin when I was younger.
Yeah,
We
my
celebrated
mom calls me
Hanukkah
Jew,
and
but yeah,
Christmas.
yeah,
So,
that's
yep.
funny.
Hmm.
I love it. Um, if you could instantly master any skill, what would it be?
This is easy for me. It's implementation. I've got
Oh,
so many ideas. Implementation is not my strength. And so I find people who help me. But implementation, if I could be an implementer, I would be a bazillionaire because I've got all the ideas. I get so overwhelmed by all the information and all the steps it will take. And I chat GPT and I have like a 17-page article that tells me how to do everything. And then I'm like, great. And I move on to the next idea. So implementation, it would be a game changer for me.
if you could have dinner with any person, dead or alive, who would you love to sit down with?
Oh, well, dad would have to be my abuela, like for
Oh,
sure. Like that's the only person that makes sense. Like she was my best friend and yeah, there's not a lot of
what would she
regrets in my
say? What would
life.
she say to what you're doing?
I think she would love it. I think she would be proud of me. I know she's proud of me. I would say this, I don't have a lot of regrets. I don't live with that word. I wish I had spent the time to ask her questions, but I wasn't old enough. I didn't have the vision I have now. I would love to hear like how did she navigate coming from another country? Like what happened when her feet landed here? Where did
Yeah.
she go? Did she know somebody? How did it where, what, how? I would love to hear that from her, and I won't get to. And so that's one of the things that I'm like, oh, I wish I knew, but I was too young and I didn't think of things the same way I do now. That would be the big thing, right? I would really just love to hear her story because what I know is very vague and very on the top, and I'd have a lot of questions, and I'd love to be able to share her story with people. And
Hmm.
unfortunately, I won't know it. So there's that. If we're talking about alive, it's Kelly Clarkson.
Heck yeah,
Um,
of course.
100%. Kelly Clarkson and me would be best friends. She doesn't know it, but I'm not lying. We would be the best of friends. And I have very crazy stories of things that have happened interacting with her at like concerts and events. She doesn't know it, but if I told her the things that have gone on, she would lose her. My friends are like, make videos. We're going to push it to her page. I just have to make the videos. So again, implementation. But we want to get me on the show. We want to talk to her. She will laugh so much at my story of desperately trying to get a picture with her for the last 20 years. And I think I'll get my picture.
I know you
Yeah.
will.
Yeah, I think
I
I
like
will.
without a doubt know you
I
will.
need the
And we'll,
book because if I
yeah,
get the book, you know what I'm saying?
I 100% know what you're saying. I totally
Yep.
get it.
So I just
What
shared with you the goal of the book is just to meet Kelly Clarkson. I didn't realize that before, but now we know.
perfect. I mean, the fact is, we have to have a place to start, right?
Right, right. That's the goal.
What what does living out loud mean to you?
I talk about all the time about the quote from many stories, but specifically The Lion King, when Simba is lost and Mufasa comes back and he says, "Remember who you are," and how that statement it just resonates with me on such a 10th degree because remember who you are is not telling you to go figure it out. It's
Right.
not telling you to go on self discovery. It's saying you already know who you are and you've lost sight of that. A lot of times that's because of what society tells us, what our parents tell us, what other people tell us, what partners tell us, and it gets pushed down. And I spent most of my 20s peeling back all that noise to just get myself back to being who I am. So when we say living out loud, for me, it's about fully remembering who you are, being unapologetic of who you are, and encouraging other people to be who they are.
Well, I'm very grateful that you are out in this world and that in this life I got to know you.
Oh,
And I'm so proud of what you're doing, not only for our community, but for just humanity, because it all matters. When someone tells me that I don't need to go vote. I don't need to go vote because it just doesn't matter. One vote. Yes, every voice matters. And so I really appreciate you, Juan, and I'm so
thank
glad
you.
that you're here in the world.
Thank you. And I look forward to, commingling our voices more often.
Yeah, we
It's
should do some
exciting to
lives
see.
together for
Yeah, it's
sure.
great
Yeah.
to see new people. I'm only better by the people I surround myself with. When I was younger, my grandma would always say, "You're the average of the 5 people you hang around." I'm like, "No," and you would reject that because you wanted to hang out with those people who she was telling you not to. As an
Hmm.
adult, in my almost 40s, I'm like, "Oh yeah, you are literally the sum of the 5 people you hang around with the most often." So I am better because of the people and the creators that I support. If you ever hear me shout out names on TikTok, I guarantee you they are of the same integrity and same quality and same heart that I have. I would never platform somebody for a return. I don't want the views from that kind of audience. So if I
Yeah.
share someone's name, it's because they've got the heart, they've got the integrity, they've got the same kind of vision, and I'm better because of them. I'm learning on their platforms, I'm listening on their platforms. And so that's what we should all be doing. And they come to mind for the same reason because we learn from each other because we're not all doing the same dance. So even though similar topics, the conversations are not all one and the same.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. And again, I'm just grateful for you taking some time out of your day today and getting back to your husband and going enjoying your Sunday. But
Yes.
thank you, Juan. Thank you for
Thank
being
you.
here. I really appreciate you.
Thank you, Michelle. And we'll talk again soon, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Thank you, Pod Squad.
If you liked this episode, please hit the follow button and remember, sharing is caring. Until next week, stay proud, stay loud.